Hi, Chelsea. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing, Janelle?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. I'm super excited to learn about Level Up New Hampshire. So I was hoping that we could first talk about, what made you decide, like, what's the inception? How did you come to the inception of Level Up New Hampshire? What is it? And who is your audience?
So Level Up came up probably back in 2021, 2022, when I realized through my marketing position what a network can really do and how it can help your business. And so I started thinking there's other ways to do this, right? There's other ways to build a community and build a business that will in turn bring you business in the end. And so as it started going on and changes started being made through companies closing and my mom getting sick and changing at companies, it was finally came to a realization in 2021 that like this isn't what I want to be doing. There's something else out there and there's more people that I can help. And so the opportunity came up in March of 2024 to came to the realization that it was having a health effect on me for not doing what I wanted to do. And so the opportunity came up to quit my job and figure out how to make this work. And so with the support of my dad and my boyfriend, I was able to quit and found an avenue to be able to help people. And it started out with an idea of helping tradespeople as they're really good at their trades, but not necessarily huge in how to run the business and how to do it. And it's just turned into something that's growing way faster than I expected.
That's amazing. So, isn't it interesting when you said it was affecting your health, not doing what you wanted to do and having this desire to do more with your strengths. And now here you are, like you're reaping the benefits and the reward of it growing, which means you were onto something, right? But it also is nice to, I think, highlight uh, that change inside, that intrinsic motivation inside of yourself to grow your own business, I'm sure is something that you're translating into helping your clients as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was something actually that came up today. I was sitting with somebody prior to this, and we were talking about who are the clients that you're helping, who are the people that are benefiting the most. And the one thing that people always say back to me is one, you are who you are. And the other thing is that I'm going through this process, maybe 6 months, a year beyond some of the people I'm working with, but I'm going through this process with you. So everything that you're struggling with and that there's an issue, I probably just went through it or I'm finding the way around it now. And so being able to have that ability to truly be like, yeah, I understand what you're going through as I'm actually going through it has made things a lot easier to kind of relate with my customers.
Yeah, that's yeah, when it's more authentic, isn't it? So because it's a parallel situation that you're figuring it out with them at the same time. And then you can have share success stories, commiserate a little bit, right? Work on it together. So it's a team effort. So if you're working with tradespeople, I think that's a great one because, I'm in the service industry. I have a commercial cleaning company, so we're a trade as well. And to clean is one thing, but to manage my business on the back end, the admin side is a whole different ball of wax. And you're saying that that's one of the things that you're noticing is tradespeople might be really good at their job, but maybe they're having a hard time in the office. So walk me through that. So what is it that you're helping them with to strengthen them from the admin side?
So I thought trades was going to be the people that I work with the most, and it's not, but they are the people that are benefiting the most. So one of my clients is a contractor. So he knows how to build decks, do all the stuff that comes with that. But when it came to how do you hire somebody? How do you deal with employees? What questions can I ask? What can I ask? Just the idea of who do I reach out to when it comes to doing a business loan? They were ready to grow. They had the employees. They were on the right, but then they're like, Where do I go? Who do I talk to? And what's the process? Is it a business loan that I need versus a credit card? Is it, how are you working? Can you afford to hire somebody and they have the receipts in a shoebox? Are you even working with somebody to help you actually understand your books? And so they do really well on plumbing a new bathroom. They do really well building a brand new deck. But when they get home at the end of the day, their strong suit is not the other aspect of it. And usually it's really hard to do those when it's not something that you want to do. So it's a lot of wasted time that is being spent on things, or hours made longer, when I can give them direction of people to talk to or avenues to make it easier. And different, aspects of just new business owners that don't know that you need to have a business bank account and you need business insurance separate from your personal insurance. And they go in with the idea of, I have this passion and I have this quote unquote side gig of what they want to do, but they don't know anything else about that besides what they're doing. And so that's where I'm able to come in and give them direction and plans to, what do you need to be a business? What does it take to be a business? And some of it is mindset of, this isn't your side gig anymore, and this is your business, and how to treat it that way so that you can create income and freedom for yourself as you're going through this process.
I love that you said that it's mindset. There's like I've talked to many people and I've suffered from this as well, imposter syndrome, where, you think about it in your mind, you're like, well, I'm doing it, but am I really doing it? Right. And then, but there's no other owner of my company. It's me. Right. So I am doing it, but then I'm like, oh, it's a surprise sometimes, so, oh, it is me. Right. So you're right. So when you're shifting people's mindset to just take ownership of their success and their drive to move forward, I feel like that's like the key component for the next level of success, to legitimize their profession and their company. Yeah, yeah.
It's
So
it's been a,
go ahead.
it's been a very hard thing, I find, for new business owners. And I think the professions that are coming out of business owners nowadays than they were 10, 15 years ago.
Mm,
So
mm.
it's definitely been interesting from that perspective.
So I'm hearing you say, without saying it, like the networking, you are like the queen of networking. You're such a powerhouse at all of the community events. You're such like a driving force in the chamber. And I've recently experienced you connecting me with somebody, Ed Delamater with Citywide Facilities Solution. He's the owner. They're based out of Bedford. And we were on the phone the other day because of you. And he calls you the mayor. Chelsea Browne's the mayor, right? She's the mayor of all the people. And what a great strength to have. So, if somebody needs to have help with their books, the person to get in contact with. If they need help with marketing, I'm sure you have a list of people to get somebody in touch with. So this really comes down to you just having this innate ability to connect people with one another and then make level up what it is.
And that's really what it started with, the idea, right? I know so many people and I'm doing it anyway. How do you turn that into a business? And I think a lot of people go on network. You've seen it, right? We're in the chamber, we go to after hours and we see what's going on. And then you always see the ones that are there that are just collecting cards or in the corner. And I always say to people, if you have 2 or 3 hours at the end of the day, would you rather be at home with your family or doing what you want to do, or are you going to be networking? And so if you're going to go to these events, let me help you understand what to do while you're there so that you're intentional with your time and you're getting something out of it. I've done it. I've done it in what I consider 5 states with Western Mass, and figured out which chambers are good, which ones aren't, which, home show network, home networking, different events that are out there. Everybody's creating something new. And, a great idea was the first person that I met. We were getting ready, it was the end of the night, and I said, saying bye to everybody. And she said, oh, I can't leave yet. And I said, why not? And she said, well, I only have 18 business cards and my coach told me to get 20. And so I laughed. I gave her my business card and I gave her the person I was with. And I was like, here's your 20 cards. You can go home now. And then I turned around and I said, so what are we doing with those cards when we get home? She goes, I don't know. She just told me to get 20 cards. We just spent 2 hours at an event for what? You could have been home with your husband, you could have been with your kids. So let's make an intentional time while we're out there. And to be able to help understand, like, okay, you're in the cleaning business. Let's not put you in with small business owners that don't have offices. Let's get you in with the CEOs that have banks and commercial space that are beneficial to you when you get there. But then the ability to say, hey, Janelle, Ed Delamar is going to be there. You want to go talk to him. And then I let him know you're going to be there. And then at least it's intentional when you get there and you're not wasting time because you are taking time away. And business owners are putting in plenty of time to their business to find that balance everywhere else, right? So if I can help say, hey, this is who you need to talk to, and this is where you need to go. So that when you're going, your hour that you're there, or 2 hours that you're there, you're getting something out of it. So when you get home, you're actually reaching out to those people because there's a benefit going forward.
Mm.
And I think that's the big thing that's coming in. And what I've learned as I've gone through is, I learned how to network on my own. We all know Penny Environmental, and he threw me out there and said, figure it out. And I did. But once I figured it out, it allowed me, as my mom got sick, to stay home and still have business come in. It
Mm.
allowed me to take care of her till the last day and still have the same amount of business come in as when I was out there doing it myself. And so having that balance and understanding that, but being able to teach people how to do it is a whole nother asset that you can hold on to that allows you to grow your business without taking a ton of time away from everything else you're trying to do.
Mm. Yeah, and being intentional, being time efficient, and building strong relationships that are lasting. So,
Mm-hmm.
even in times of, like, a dip in the ability to put yourself out there and pound the pavement, right? You do still have those people reaching back out to you instead of constantly having to reach out to others. So it's like one hand washes the other in that case.
And the relationships are going to last way longer than one job you're going to get today.
That's
If
right.
you can get that one client, you're taking care of today. But if you can get that one relational referral that's going to bring you business for 5 years,
Yeah.
those are the people you really want to get in front of and keep those strong. And
Mm.
I think when you come to business owners, new or old, having them understand that mindset and the benefit of having that for the longevity of their company and growth is something that not a lot of them fully understand. But once they get it, they're like, only I knew that 5 years ago, or only if I knew that when I started my business,
Right.
you could be in a whole different spot right now. So it's really my main thing is helping you get to where you want to be, but changing that mindset so that you're intentional because a lot of people I'm dealing with are new business owners, right? They're entrepreneurs, they have imposter syndrome. They're trying to figure out, am I doing this right? Am I not doing this right? Where do I go? But they also left corporate for a reason. And
Mm.
there's a reason they started their own business. And a lot of them will tell you, oh, I don't care about working 80 hours. But that's not why they did it. They did it for balance and freedom to do things for themselves. And so if you can create that intentionality and that mindset to understand why you're going into this meeting, what am I trying to get out of it, and who do I need to talk to? But also, what's the long-term goal of meeting some of these people? They can create that life where a ton of us that I deal with now are like, oh, I wish I could do that. Or, you're just living the life. I'm doing just as much work as you are. I'm just a lot more intentional. And I'm probably starting way earlier in the day. So when I'm out at noon golfing, it's not that I'm not doing anything. It's just my time is intentional on who I'm talking to and what I'm dealing with to be able to grow that.
Mm. As a small
And that's
business owner, you're right. It is, the goal to be, not to belittle the efforts that go into running a small business, right? It's really hard, it's a constant, your mind's always going. But we do it so that we can enjoy our lives, right? Like I want to be home with my son when he goes to soccer. I want to bring him to school in the morning. I don't want to have to be beholden to a time clock and somebody else's expectations or scope of work, right? And then also there's a really big the beautiful gift in being a small business is you get to give back to the community in the way that you design your business, right? And you design your culture and how it can contribute, right? So, although there's nothing wrong with, being an employee, punching in, punching out, and having that life too, that has its strengths and benefits. But you're right, the ones who leave corporate, they're doing it for a bigger purpose. And gosh, it took me a while to understand that I was not efficient with my time, because I was, have you ever heard of like the fishbowl view versus the bird's eye view? I was just in it. I was working in my business and not removing myself long enough to work on my business, right? So you're like the perfect person to help remove somebody from the fishbowl to kind of give them an overview of where they should be, what they need to do to really facilitate growth in a positive, sustainable way.
Yeah, I think the fishbowl is a great mindset, right? Because it's like people that are in the fishbowl, that's if you talk to anybody who's never done business by themselves, I didn't know what I was getting into when I got into this.
Yeah.
They think that you have to work 24/7 for the first few years. So when they're in the fishbowl, they're like, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. Everybody says the first few years are the hardest. But when you can get them to look at it from the bird's eye view and see it and be like, I can do just as much without killing myself
Mm,
at a sooner time period, that's why we're doing what we're doing. The people that are like, I can't go volunteer at Make-A-Wish because I've got to do this, this, and this, or they don't see that as networking or branding. And like you said, a lot of people want to give back, and a lot of clients are looking for those that are giving back, right? So a day on the golf course with a nonprofit is just as beneficial as working with a client.
mm,
You're being seen by so many other people, but they also get to see you as who you are. You're
mm.
going to be a different person in that volunteer give back mode than you are as your professional. And so people get to see the genuine, authentic you, but there's also a shared belief there that we're both doing something that fills our cup. And that is something that builds a relationship 10 times faster. And
Mm.
it allows somebody to say, hey, you should go talk to Janelle because she can help you with that. Hey, and by the way, I also met her while doing an animal cruelty thing or something where that just connects dots so much faster. So when you sit down, it's easy. You're like, hey, how was that the other weekend? I'm doing this one. And then you're remembered, right? Why do we remember people? Because at some point you made somebody feel something about something. And
Yes.
that, I think about it all the time. I leave something and they'll be like, oh, who's your favorite plumber? And I'm like, oh, Steve Ripken's my favorite plumber. That's who I always call. And somebody the other day was like, I see you every week. But there's something with Steve that clicks because there's a connection there above and beyond just the business that I don't have to see him all the time and I still remember him. Yet you can see somebody all the time and not remember them because there's nothing there. And
Mm,
so getting out and being able to give back was one of the main reasons of why I started it because I wanted to have the ability to put more time and energy into the community, giving back to nonprofits, helping people in a way business wise, but also being able to help in another way. And by doing that, you also get to say, hey, Janelle, I'm working this next Friday. Do you want to come down and do it with me?
mm,
And now they're getting to be able to see what you're doing and maybe create something else for themselves.
mm.
And I think that aspect that was a non-negotiable when I started it. I first went into a partnership and that was a non-negotiable. Like there's going to be a portion that's going to go back to A, B, and C. And people can't see that when I bring that up to them as a networking or branding opportunity. Throw on a t-shirt that says Wendy's cleaning service and go do what you do. Everybody looks at your t-shirt. I don't care what anybody says. They're looking at what you're wearing. And at some point, if you show up enough, they're like, hey, by the way, I see your shirt. What exactly does that mean? It always comes up,
Mm,
but they're going to remember you.
right. Yeah, yeah. The brand is important for like brand recognition, right? Is important. The more like the repetition of it is important. And then, what you present with that brand is the feeling part of it, right? So like my logo, my W, great. It's a W, it's got two colors, it's the same every single time. So that's that, it just plants the seed visually, but then it's how I present myself and how I connect with the community and how I connect with individuals. That's what brings that feeling, and that's that long lasting. Now the two are connected, right? So like the feeling that I present plus the brand recognition, now it's clicked. Now the puzzle is complete. And then that is what, will engage that next step with maybe gaining a new client, right? So networking is really important. Building relationships is really important. Chelsea, what else would you say like are key components for business growth? Are there, one, two, or three? Are there things that come to the top of your mind that are, help facilitate growth aside from networking and relations?
I think having that plan, having that goal. So a lot of people they have the goal. They know, oh, 2024, I want to hit X. But if you're not doing anything consistently throughout the year to get you there, then you're never going to hit that. And also having that plan in place, like I worked with a couple clients, and by June, we were hitting their year-end goals. And now they're able to get to that next goal faster because there was somebody there to say, hey, this is where you need to be. And one of my clients, he was in 4 or 5 networking things, kept going, and he was like, I'm not getting anywhere. And within 6 months, we had hit his year goal. He was where he wanted to be, and we were working on his beginning of 2025 goal
Mm,
because we were intentional with the time that he was putting out there and getting him in front of the right people.
mm,
Um, and by using all those things correctly is what's going to get you there. It's not networking that gets you there. It's not having a plan that gets you there. It's not getting so many business cards and making so many calls. It's all the things together, the plan, the goal, the execution of it, and then getting yourself in the right places at the right time.
mm,
And I think intentionality when it comes to business owners is one of the biggest things. And it's becoming a bigger word the more I've used it a lot, but seeing it, make your time worth it because there's so many other things that you can be doing with your time to be making money or enjoying the money that you're making. So having that there and combining those three together, along with the positive mindset and reminders that you can do it, those are the things that come together. The reason people don't go after their passion or their side gig or whatever you want to say, it's because they're scared. There's a fear there of they don't know what's on the other side. And if you can believe that you're going to do it, and I said this to a potential client, I said, if you quit your job right now and took up this baking business and your kid was going to starve, are you going to make that baking business work? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, then what are you scared of? Because you're never going to let yourself fail. If
mm,
your life depends on it, you are going to make it work. So you can do it. I just talked to somebody who's doing a full-time job and he figured out that if he goes on his own and quits his full-time job, he only has to work 16 hours to make the money he's making in corporate.
mm,
You can work 40 plus hours and make the same amount of money in 16 hours and you're scared to take the job.
right.
There's a fear of mentality, and that's the combination of all the things come together to create an immense and quick growth that you want to get.
Mm. So invest in
It's scary.
yourself, be confident, in the changes that you're making. Don't let fear drive the bus, right?
Take
And
the chance.
so have long-term goals and make short-term goals incremental to get you to those goals. So yeah,
And
those are all really important. It's so funny because I do that. I'm always like, okay, like I have a big goal, for 2026. Right. And then, and so how do I get there? And then if I think about marketing, payroll, hiring, bookkeeping, like if I start thinking about all of it at once, I'm flooded and it's almost like paralysis by analysis. Where do I start? But if I just do today, I'm just going to do payroll, right? Today, I'm going to do a social media marketing strategy that, and like, so one facet at a time, always moving forward, small incremental steps. And then all of a sudden, bam, there you go. And the goal is met without like too much hardship. So I love what you're saying.
Surrounding yourself with accountability in the network is huge too, because when you don't think that you can do it, somebody within your network knows you can do it and you're able to get it done.
Mm. Yeah, we're better at completing things when we say it out loud, and then others like our audience holds us accountable, right? Because then we don't want to, it's easy to, deflate ourselves and then just justify it, but it's harder to deflate others when we don't want to let them down, right? So it's like a good odd, it's like a built-in cheerleading system when you tell other people what you want to do. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've been in the business. How many times have you sat down and been like, I don't know about this one. I might be going a little too far.
Yeah.
But as soon as somebody came to you and said, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And you're like, but it figures it out, right? Because they're like, I know you can do it. And you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do it. And they're like, I know you can do it. And what happens? You end up doing it.
Yes.
It's just getting in your own head and getting in the way. Like you said, analysis by paralysis by analysis. It's surround yourself with those people that when you don't think you can, they're going to be pushing you and making sure it gets done. And they're not doing anything. They're just reminding you from the outside,
Yeah.
you have the ability to do this and you made this goal because you know you can do it. You won't, I figured out that a lot of people, you won't ever make a goal that's completely unattainable.
Mm. Right. Right. I know I'm not
Have
out
you
there
ever
saying
sat
I'd like
down?
my business to be $400 million rich tomorrow. Like that's like ridiculous, but to like grow by 20%, that's reasonable and attainable, right? So you're right. We don't create goals that are, at least in business, we don't create goals that are too outlandish, because yeah, I think, intrinsically we want to succeed, right? So we try to set ourselves up to succeed.
Personal or business though.
Mm.
If you put that, if you actually say out loud, like everybody jokes around, like you said, I'm gonna make a $4 million business tomorrow. But when you're actually like, hey, this is my thought process, whether it's buying a house in a year or losing 40 pounds in 3 months or growing by 20%, employing two new employees, they may seem unattainable, but they're not.
Right. Right.
So if the motivation's there, the passion's there, and you have support that's going to help you get there, and you have a network, whether it's sending you business or supporting you, that network is going to get you to where you need. But it doesn't matter. I've sat with one client and I'm like, okay, my favorite saying, and you've probably heard it, is like, okay, well, I'm trying to get better. And I
Mm.
said to him yesterday, I got slapped, and he was like, I'm trying. I said, so what are you doing? He's like, sitting here. I'm like, so what is trying?
Right.
And he just looked at me. I'm like, you're either doing it or you're not. You're trying to get out of bed. Did you get out of bed? No. Okay, then you didn't. You
Yeah.
didn't try.
Right.
And so when you put that mentality into it and you actually realize what it means, nobody says, I'm going to try to build a business. They're like, this is my business idea that I'm going to do.
Mm.
Or they question it, but then once it's brought to their attention, they're like, yep, you're right. I'm going to do this. And then it happens one way or the other. It happens. So
Mm.
network brings you to build business, but also builds character within yourself to get you to that business.
Character, very important. Yeah. So you are, Chelsea, you're the first person I've spoken with who has built your own business recently. So you're like, it's in its infancy, even though the idea isn't in its infancy, but the inception is. So are there any things that you can, reflect on that have been rewarding or challenging about starting? Because you're talking about, people can start a business. So this is what you're doing. So what are the rewards? What are the challenges that like really stand out to you in this first year?
I think, the challenges are, I don't know, there's been, I don't know, I have a tough time with challenges. I will say like the biggest thing is understanding what I needed at first. because I'm like, okay, you need to get business insurance. Okay, got that. Okay, I need to open a business account. Okay, got that. Okay, don't open a social media account till you get your insurance. Okay, did that. Okay, I need an email address. Well, that's got to be easy. I can do that too. And then I realized you probably would have saved yourself 3 days if you would have just sent it to someone else and paid them the $100 it costs to help them get you done. Um, I think it's just not knowing, like not fully knowing till you're in it what needs to be done and what's there. And you're always changing it. My original plan of what I thought this business was changed within 2 months. And so that's been an adjustment. And just not knowing, but I also have a great network that I built that's like, hey, don't forget about this. Hey, you should probably tweak that. And so it's been very easy for me, but it's the things like you're asleep at 10 o'clock and then at 1 o'clock, you're like, did I email fully promoted about that jacket I needed embroidered? And then I'm taking notes on the side of the bed and people think I'm crazy. But all those things have created my ability to go on vacation and I can work from there. My dad was going obviously through some hard stuff when we lost my mom. I was able to be there for him without going, hey, I need a sick day, or can I come in late, or oh, he has a doctor's appointment next Tuesday. I'm going to need a couple hours off. I'm able to just do what I need to do. And it's allowed me to learn a lot about myself and my time management skills and my ability to get things in line and organized. But it's also taught me how much I'm capable of doing when I didn't think I was able to. And
What a
so
great reward. That's a great reward, realizing that you're, stronger than maybe you could have thought you could be, right?
you go into business because you know you can do it, but then you get into business and you've probably seen it too. It's like, what did I get myself into and what is going on? And
Sure.
then the next week you're like, oh, okay, cool, that's over. Like we did it again. And it's a constant game that never ends and you can never win, but there's so many ups and downs that I feel like no matter how bad of a day or how stressful of a day, I still at the end of the day can say I helped that one person get who they needed, or I was able to go take that 20 minutes to myself to get myself back where you can't sit in an office and be like, hey, can I have 20 minutes to go for a walk to clear my head so I can get back and be more focused? Like it just doesn't happen. So you work a lot more, you have a lot more stress on your plate, but you're also able to find those times to really live. And as we all know, and I've learned, life is very short and anything can be thrown at you at any time. So to be able to do those little things or swing by in the middle of something and drop off my dad an appointment or pick him up, you can't do that when you're stuck to a clock. And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of challenges. You got to get a paycheck every single week. It's not coming whether you work or it's not. You have to go find the network, find the clients, find the people. But all that hard work and those long days and the clients start coming in and you see that you're helping them and you see the benefit of it. To me, the challenges aren't even existent because there's so much more that comes out of it.
What a great mindset, which is great because that's you being a coach, right? So you having that mentality for yourself in your own business, you're walking walking the talk, right? So you're living it every day from a positive perspective. And it's really uplifting and motivational to hear you speak like this. So maybe I'll call you for level up for my business. So,
It changes a lot because the mentality of like, you have a son, so you get it, right? Like what you're doing when you get frustrated at stupid things or people get frustrated at stupid things that you do in your personal life, you're probably doing them somewhere in your business life. And
yes.
that correlation of the two to me is the biggest thing. When I can point out like, hey, your employees are acting like this because of, and then you see the light bulb go, oh yeah, my wife just told me that yesterday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's like they intertwine because you can't, it's very hard to separate. And so if you can help with that, everything else makes sense. And not only are you fixing someone's business and getting them to a good spot there, you're actually having an effect somewhere in their personal life.
That's
So
right.
there's so many benefits to it if you just believe in what you're doing. And people say, well, how do I get a mindset like you? And what does that mean? It's just believing that you can do it. And a lot of it is the people I surround myself with. The people that are like, you're being a, you know what today, get your head out of your butt. You know how to do it. You know what it is, move on. And it's a positive mindset from a lot that I've been through, but it's also the people I surround myself with to remind me like you are capable of all the things that you say you can do. You
Mm,
just got to do them and execute them. And I think that's the biggest. Everybody has a plan, but not everybody's willing to execute and put in the effort to get you there. And that's the biggest challenge, right? Is executing every day, no matter what's going on, because we own our own business and we can easily wake up and be like, I don't have any clients today. I can just sleep.
mm,
And it's up to you to go and execute every day, whether you want to or not.
mm, mm. You've been wonderful to talk with. I've loved this so much. And I mean, you're always wonderful to talk to anyway. It's always so fun to see you. You always bring such an element of like laughter and positivity to all of the events. So this is just right up your alley. I feel like this is totally in line. Level Up New Hampshire is in line with your personality and who you are. So I'm congratulations on your new business. I'm very excited to see where it goes. And of course, I'm going to see you at, many events. And but let everybody else know, where can we find you?
So the website is officially live at levelupnh.com, which thank goodness. One of the things I learned, don't try to do it yourself, get somebody to do it.
Mm.
Or you can reach out to cell phone 603-714-8512 or email Chelsea at levelupnh.com.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. It's always a good time to see you too.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.
I